There is a city in Texas where the cost of living runs 25% below the national average. Retirees there are living comfortably on $1,500 a month, and the median rent sits under $900. No, this is not some crumbling border town or a place with zero services. It is part of America, so quietly affordable that most people have never thought to look there. Everyone thinks affordable retirement in America disappeared decades ago. California is impossible. Florida is getting expensive. Even the supposedly cheap states keep climbing in price. But here is what nobody tells you about America. Scattered across the southern and midwestern states are towns so genuinely cheap, so surprisingly livable, that retirees from high-cost areas are abandoning their original plans and relocating there instead. We are counting down 7 American towns with the lowest cost of living in the country, places where retirement savings actually last, where homes cost what cars cost in other states, and where the word affordable is not a euphemism for struggling. One town is where Elvis Presley was born, with housing 33% cheaper than average. Another sits on the Tennessee River with the largest collection of Victorian homes in Alabama. And yes, one place calls itself the air capital of the world, where rent runs 35% below average. Think you know everything about affordable American living? Let us see if you are ready for towns where your pension actually stretches further than you ever imagined possible. Now, before we dive in, if you find this helpful, tap that subscribe button. You will not want to miss what is coming next. Decatur, Alabama sits on the banks of the Tennessee River. It has the largest concentration of Victorian-era homes in Alabama, and somehow it costs 16% less than average to live there. Welcome to Alabama's river city that most Americans have never heard of. Around 58,000 people call Decatur home. The cost of living runs 16% lower than the national average. Housing expenses come in 32% below what most Americans pay. Healthcare costs sit 22% lower than average. For retirees specifically, the cost of living drops 11% below national figures. This makes Decatur surprisingly affordable for retirement. Walk through the Old Decatur and Albany historic districts. Victorian craftsman homes and bungalows line every street. Red brick facades, wraparound porches, front gardens bursting with magnolias. This is the largest collection of such architecture in all of Alabama. These Victorian neighborhoods give the city its distinctive character. The downtown district thrives with local shops and restaurants. The Princess Theater hosts live performances year-round. Rhodes Ferry Park stretches along the Tennessee River where locals fish and walk every morning. Point Mallard Water Park draws families during the hot summer months. Downtown life blends small city charm with regular community events. Here is something that matters for your retirement planning. Alabama does not tax federal retirement income. Your pension stretches further here than in most states. Property taxes remain modest compared to coastal areas. That tax advantage can add up over time. But Decatur is honest about what it requires. Summers are hot and humid. Air conditioning is not optional here. Public transportation barely exists, so you will need a car. The nearest major international airport requires a drive. Summers demand planning and a reliable vehicle. Imagine yourself on an autumn morning. You walk past Victorian homes painted in soft pastels. The Tennessee River sparkles through the trees ahead. Neighbors wave from their porches. Your monthly expenses leave money for actual living. These mornings feel like small town living with careful spending. Could you embrace Alabama's River City for genuine affordability? Is Southern charm the priority, or are more urban amenities the requirement? What matters more to you? Number 6. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne, Indiana is Indiana's second largest city. It has over 250,000 residents, and somehow retirees find it 18% cheaper than most of America. Welcome to the Midwest city that punches above its weight. More than 253,000 people live in Fort Wayne. The cost of living is about 18% below the national average and 2% below Indiana's figures. The national average home value sits at $370,000. In Fort Wayne, the median home value is $207,000. A one-bedroom apartment rents for around $599 per month. A two-bedroom runs $761 per month. This is not some tiny rural outpost. Fort Wayne has a thriving arts scene. Museums line the downtown streets. The city sits at the confluence of three rivers. Walking trails follow the waterways through parks and green spaces. Shopping centers offer everything you need without driving to larger cities. One resident who relocated from California described the experience simply. Fort Wayne is clean, the schools are nice, it has a pleasant climate, and there is lots to do around town for all ages. The healthcare system here is robust. Multiple hospitals serve the community. Low property taxes mean your savings stretch further. Indiana exempts Social Security from state income tax, though other pension income faces taxation. But Fort Wayne asks you to accept Midwest winters. Snowfalls, temperatures drop. A car remains essential for daily life. The nearest ocean is hundreds of miles away. Imagine yourself on a spring morning, coffee in hand. You overlook one of the city's three rivers from a downtown cafe. Cherry blossoms line the walking path. Your home costs less than a garage in London. All four seasons await. Would you accept Midwest winters for genuine big city amenities at small town prices? Is infrastructure the priority, or is warmer weather the requirement? Which wins? Wichita calls itself the AR capital of the world. Nearly 400,000 people call it home. The cost of living runs 12% below the national average. Welcome to Kansas's largest city, where your pension actually stretches. Around 396,000 residents make Wichita a genuine metropolitan area. Housing expenses come in 35% lower than the national average. Utility prices run 2% cheaper. Grocery costs sit 5% below average. Seniors make up about 33% of the population. 1 in 3 residents is a retiree. The aviation heritage runs deep here. Aircraft manufacturers built this city. The Kansas Aviation Museum celebrates that history. The Wichita Art Museum features gardens and sculptures worth visiting on sunny afternoons. Restaurants and cafes cluster in walkable downtown districts. Getting around is easier than you might expect. Wichita Transit operates 18 fixed bus routes. Paratransit services help those with mobility challenges. A free trolley called the Q Line serves the downtown area. You can explore without a car for much of your daily routine. Kansas exempts Social Security income for seniors making less than $75,000 annually. Your monthly budget suddenly has room for enjoyment rather than just survival. But Wichita sits in tornado country. Storm cellars matter here. Summers bring genuine heat. Winters bring genuine cold. The landscape is flat. Coastal scenery requires significant travel. Imagine yourself strolling through an art museum on a weekday afternoon. Sculptures catch the Kansas sunlight. You return to a home that cost a third of what friends paid elsewhere. Fellow retirees fill the cafe next door. A third of this city understands exactly where you are in life. Would you live in the air capital of the world for housing 35% cheaper, with community density as the priority rather than coastal proximity as the requirement? What matters? Number 4, Tupelo, Mississippi. Tupelo is where Elvis Presley was born. It sits in the state with the lowest cost of living in America, and housing runs 33% cheaper than average. Around 38,000 people live in Tupelo. Mississippi holds the lowest cost of living index nationally at 83.3. Living costs here run more than a fifth cheaper than the national average. Housing expenses are 33% below average. Utilities cost 16% less. Healthcare runs 12% cheaper than most Americans pay. This is the commercial and cultural hub of North Mississippi, not some forgotten backwater. Downtown streets bustle with local shops. Southern restaurants serve comfort food that costs what appetizers cost elsewhere. The Elvis Presley birthplace and museum draws visitors from around the world. It is a tiny 2-room shotgun house where the king of rock and roll was born in 1935. Tupelo is a certified retirement community. That official designation means the town actively welcomes retirees. Healthcare options are strong. The sense of community runs deep. Neighbors know each other by name. But Mississippi summers test anyone not raised in humidity. Air conditioners run non-stop from May through September, and your electricity bill reflects that reality. Public transportation is limited. A car is essential. Major cities require a drive. Imagine standing in front of that humble wooden house. Elvis once lived here before the world knew his name. Southern hospitality surrounds you. Housing costs feel like a misprint from decades ago. You are living in the most affordable state in America. Would you move to Elvis's birthplace for the lowest state cost of living in America, musical history as a bonus, or more entertainment as the requirement? What is your answer? Number 3. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Oklahoma City ranks in the top 25 places to retire in America. The state's cost of living is 15% below average, and housing runs 24% cheaper than most of the country. Welcome to the state capital where cowboys and culture meet affordability. U.S. News ranked Oklahoma City as one of the top 25 places to retire in America for 2025. Around 680,000 people live in the metropolitan area. Housing costs sit about 24% below the national median. Average rent runs $1,061 per month. Utilities cost less than the national average. Property taxes will not devour your monthly budget. Studies show retirees need roughly $59,995 per year to live comfortably in Oklahoma. That covers food, housing, healthcare, transportation, and utilities. Compare that to coastal cities where double that amount barely covers basics. The Bricktown Entertainment District pulses with restaurants and nightlife. Red brick warehouses converted into venues line a scenic canal. Horse-drawn carriages pass by on weekend evenings. The neighboring city of Norman hosts the University of Oklahoma with sporting events and cultural programs year-round. Bricktown feels alive every night. Oklahoma City offers mild seasons compared to northern states. The art scene thrives. Museums dot the downtown area. Green spaces provide walking trails. The pace of life feels manageable, and the arts community is strong. But Oklahoma sits in tornado territory. Storm seasons bring genuine concern. Summers are hot. A car is essential for daily life. Coastal access requires significant travel. Tornado risk is a real trade-off. Imagine yourself on an evening stroll through Bricktown. Live music floats from restaurant patios. Fairy lights reflect off the canal water. A home that costs what a garage costs in London. A top 25 retirement destination. And nobody told you about it. That surprise feels unexpected. Would you live in the heart of cowboy country for a top retirement ranking at bottom prices? Culture and community as the priority, or coastal access as the requirement? Where do you stand? Number 2, McAllen, Texas. McAllen sits at the southern tip of Texas. Housing costs run 40% below average, and Texas has no state income tax at all. Welcome to the Rio Grande Valley, where your pension becomes a fortune. Around 142,000 people call McAllen home. The cost of living runs 23.5% lower than the national average. It is 18.8% lower than other Texas cities. Healthcare costs are 21% lower than most Americans pay. The minimum income needed to live comfortably here is $30,400 for a single person. The average McAllen home value sits at $222,873. The median monthly mortgage runs around $844. About 13% of residents are age 65 or older. This community already functions as a retirement destination, whether it planned to or not. Texas charges no state income tax. Your Social Security and pension arrive intact. Your savings grow rather than shrink. The World Birding Centers at Quinta Mazatlan Estate welcome visitors for just $3. Benson Rio Grande Valley State Park offers hiking trails through subtropical landscape. Cultural festivals featuring local foods and music fill the calendar, and many are free to attend. But Texas property taxes rank 7th highest nationally. That is how the state funds itself without income tax. Summers bring intense heat and humidity. The border location concerns some people. Hurricane season requires awareness. Imagine yourself on a morning birdwatching at a world-renowned nature center. Exotic species fill the subtropical trees. Authentic Mexican food awaits for lunch at prices that seem impossible. Imagine a home with a mortgage under $850 and no state income tax touching your pension. Would you embrace the Rio Grande Valley for housing that is 40% cheaper? Is subtropical living the priority, or are 4 seasons the requirement? What calls to you? Number 1. Brownsville, Texas. Brownsville has been named the top southern city for retirees on a budget of $1,500 a month. The cost of living is 25% below the national average, and median rent is under $900 a month. Welcome to America's most affordable retirement secret, the southernmost city in Texas, and a place where your pension actually means something. Around 186,000 people live in Brownsville. Housing is about 30% cheaper than the national average. Utilities cost about 22% less. Groceries run 15% cheaper. Healthcare services sit 12% below average. Niche ranked Brownsville the #1 city for lowest cost of living in America. The numbers almost seem impossible. Average monthly rent is $775. Average monthly groceries total $288 per person. The livability score reached 78. Median home sale price is approximately $225,000. In 2026, the cost of living for a single person is $2,000 per month. As the oldest town in the Rio Grande Valley, Brownsville wears its history proudly. Spanish colonial architecture lines downtown streets. The mix of old and new makes the town inviting. A zoo welcomes families. State and historical parks dot the surrounding area. Wildlife refuges draw nature enthusiasts. Quiet neighborhoods offer peaceful retirement living. Golf courses stay busy with retirees. One longtime resident described the town with genuine affection. The culture here is alive. The food is authentic. The community is welcoming. But Texas homeowners pay an average of $3,300 per year for standard insurance and another $2,400 per year for windstorm insurance. The border location is not for everyone. Summers are hot and humid. Cultural amenities cannot match major cities. Imagine waking up at the southern tip of Texas. Subtropical air drifts through your window. Coffee costs next to nothing at the corner cafe. A monthly budget of that size leaves money for actual living. Palm trees line the streets outside. Neighbors wave as they pass. You have found the #1 most affordable city in America. Would you move to a city most Americans have never visited for the lowest cost of living in the country? Would you choose affordability as the ultimate winner or somewhere more familiar as your requirement? What is your final answer? And that is America. 7 towns where affordable is not a compromise. It is a reality. Your move. Please watch the next video that appears on your screen and do not forget to subscribe.